Hello, today I wanted to take some time to talk about mine and my father's history in Ultima Online, a game that we've played together since 1998. Unfortunately, at the start of this year, my father was diagnosed with terminal cancer and passed away a couple of weeks ago after a short but courageous battle. Ultima Online is something that we've had in common this past 27 years. I can remember the early days where we only had one computer, and I'd used to spend many an evening sat watching my dad play. Of course, with us having dial-up at the time, when it came to my turn to play, my mum invariably wanted to phone one of her friends, so we'd have to spend time disconnecting, wait for her to have a phone call, and then spend 5 minutes reconnecting to the internet for me to have a go. So those early days didn't seem to get a great deal of playtime myself. My dad's first character was called Jeffo Of Jorvik, and it's a name that he's kept all these years. He started out as a sort of warrior class, a shield, sword, battling skeletons just outside of Vesper. My first character was called Spamson. I don't really know what I was thinking when I made that name up, it kind of has no significance, but it's definitely one that I don't see running around in any other games I've played over the years. Eventually we got a second computer, and this allowed me and my dad to play together for the first time, without having to share an account. Our first guild in Ultima was called the Founders, and the guild master was a guy called Sir Lowly Fleming, who was the husband of somebody my dad worked with. His son also played, and his name was Nomad Surlison. We adventured together for the next couple of years, but unfortunately all good things come to an end, and Surlo and his son decided to leave the game. After this we joined a big guild called the Emerald Knights, and pretty much stayed with them for our time on retail. The Emerald Knights were a really well organised guild that used to have approximately 20 to 25 players on a night. We'd have a weekly guild hunt where we'd all meet up at EK Tower, which was set in a swamp with different guild members' houses all around the swamp. It was really well put together. Everybody dressed in bright green outfits, and we used to go off and do champ spawns together. They even had a branch for PvP orientated players that was called COP, and they used to go around policing, the Shard. Really great bunch of people that we had the lucky pleasure of meeting. In later years they used to organise a yearly get together in real life. I was lucky enough to go to one of these meetups, and it was in Belgium, in Europe. Caught the train down to London King's Cross, got the Eurostar over to Brussels, I think it was, and then we stayed in a youth hostel near Ypres. Phenomenal weekend, absolutely pissed up out of my tree for most of it, but just really nice to actually meet people that you've played the game with for so many years. Share stories, have a laugh, put a face to the name really. Eventually the new kid on the block rolled around World of Warcraft, and the guild lost a lot of players as they went over to try WoW. Myself and my dad went over and tried it as well, and to be honest we played for a few years, on and off while playing Ultima at the same time, but we've always gone back to Ultima Online as that place that just gives us that really good nostalgia hit, that feel good factor. For a game so old as Ultima, it just keeps pulling us back in no matter how many breaks we've had over the years. Cut to a couple of years ago when we were having one of our breaks from Ultima. I caught COVID and spent the week in bed. Now my daughter was really panicky about catching COVID, so I isolated myself away in the bedroom. Now the one thing I did have was a laptop, and while searching the internet I came across UO Outlands, and it was really intriguing. I watched a couple of YouTube videos online, Porn Star, things like that, and I kind of thought this shard looks really good. So I downloaded the game and decided to give it a go. In no time at all, I was completely hooked again. Ultima Online Outlands feels like the game that I've grown up with for so many years and enjoyed, but it's a completely fresh take on it. New lands, all new dungeons that I'd never explored before. When you've played retail for so long, there's not many things that kind of surprise you on there. You've explored all the areas, especially after 20 plus years. Outlands just gave a completely new take on it. I was a complete newbie again, so while the game felt completely familiar and welcoming and just nostalgic, there was so much to learn again, from the aspect systems, the fact that there was no item insurance again. Absolutely loved that. I did dabble back in the day on Siege Perilous and completely loved the fact that obviously no item insurance. Stealing worked, you know, there's morality. It just really, really great fresh take on an old classic. I think the devs have done a fantastic job of the game, and you can see that through the player base that just keeps growing and growing. I called up my dad and told him about Outlands, and he downloaded the game straight away, and Jeffo Of Jorvik was reborn. We've had so much fun over the past 2 years. We started out mining to get some gold together and bought our first caravan, which gave us a base camp to work from, and then obviously tried loads of different templates out over the past 2 years. Arcane Mages was one of the best things that we did together on the Shard. Jace Owens wrote a really good script. Now, my dad was getting on in years. He was probably 62 by the time that the Arcane Mage was becoming really popular, and his reflexes had slowed down a little bit, bless him. So the Arcane Mage script that Jace, wrote, just gave him a new lease of life. We were back down in the dungeons adventuring together, so even though his fingers might have missed a step, the script helped pick up the slack with that, and we were down in Crawl Hive. We were everywhere together, basically. He'd message me on Discord on an evening, "Are you free?" and then off we'd go on a dungeon crawl for hours on end. Just some really, really happy memories to look back on, which this game has once again given us. From all the adventuring, we'd accumulated quite a bit of gold between us. We've always pulled our money together, so we sold the caravan and bought a villa just outside of Horseshoe Bay. This was a great spot for wilderness farming, and we really enjoyed living there. An opportunity came along for us to get a Norse watchtower, so we sold the villa and upgraded, giving us sort of 3-4 floors. For the first time, my dad had his own floor of the house on Outlands. I had a floor, and then we had a bit of a communal area. It's the place where the Founders Guildstone currently resides. Throughout this year, and my dad's steady decline in health, he still found the time to play Ultima Online with me. I can remember him being in hospital on several occasions he's been in this year for extended periods, and he dropped me a text message, "Bring my laptop bag, son," and there he was once again, laid in his hospital bed with a laptop on his knee playing Ultima Online. It gave him a great source of comfort. Since my dad's passing, I found it difficult to log into Outlands, because I just missed my adventuring buddy. But I can still remember him messaging me and telling me, "Have you refreshed the house, son? Don't forget to log in and refresh the house." "Don't you worry, Dad, I'm on the game pretty much every day, the house will be good." "Well, as long as we're sorted, son, that's alright then." So yeah, lots of good memories tied to this game, and as I adventure through the lands on my own this time, I can remember the happy times where we'd play together, we'd laugh together, we'd fight together, we'd die together. A lot of good memories, and rest in peace, Jeffo. You won't be forgotten.